What's up, everybody? Tam here today. I am here to tell you that in the recording of this Champions Corner, we ended up getting our file corrupted. I lost the video totally; it's gone, but the audio is completely and totally intact. So I'm gonna be just putting up pictures and images of the things that Piglet and I are talking about as we push through the rest of the podcast. We understand how the corruption happened, and it's not going to happen again. Technology stuff, you know. But from all of us here at TCGU, please enjoy the interview. Thank you. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Champions Corner here on TCG University. My name's Tam, and I'm joined today by
Matthew Turner, your boy Piglet
your
in the house,
boy
man.
Piglet. By suggestion of Keenan Meadows, our previous Champions Corner interviewer. If you haven't seen that, please check it out on the channel. Matthew is the 2016 Teams World Champion, the 2011 Extended World Champion, and Rochester CCG's biggest hype man. So big shout out to Rochester CCG. What's the catchphrase?
Once you go orange, you win.
Oh,
I know
dang.
that Sean says that a lot.
Dang. I'm in. For everybody new to Champions Corner, this is our second episode. What we're going to be doing here is just sitting down with champs of all games, not just universes, but hopefully every game possible, and getting a little bit of a history about the people that play our game at an exceptionally high level. Like I said, I've done Keenan Meadows. We're now doing Piglet, and we're going to be doing so many more from here. So first and foremost, give me the elevator pitch. Who's Matthew Turner? Who's Piglet? Who are you, dude?
I am, just an old card game player, man. I started playing cards. I started playing cards when I was 9 years old. I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh in third and fourth grade.
Oh yeah.
And we would play out on the playground, playing on the playground and stuff like that, on picnic tables and stuff like that.
Let's go.
And then I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I played a lot of other games. I could go on and on about different games that I played, but basically, I was a big Soul Calibur fan.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 12, I saw UFS, basically a Soul Calibur card game, and my friend Josh Croswick, he had learned the game from Ben Kaufman, who owned the game store, and we had, I think it was a Taki versus Chun-Li starter decks, demo decks.
Okay.
And I played Taki because I was a Soul Calibur fan, and then ended up buying 6 packs and just sort of started learning the game and stuff since then. That's who I am in UFS.
That's it. So, you said you got your start in other card games. Have you done anything big, successful? Have you ever gone to a regional for Yu-Gi-Oh, or have you?
Yeah.
It's just UFS.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
You're all good. Is UFS just like the only thing you've been considered a champion at, or like have you gone at top regionals in other card games?
UFS is the only thing I was a champion at. I would go to regionals and stuff. I had a lot of 5 and 3 regionals in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay.
I did play in the Atlanta Yu-Gi-Oh scene, so if you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm friends with some pretty great players, Patrick Hoban, Chris Arantes.
Yeah.
So those guys have been national champions before, and Chris especially. We grew up together as real close friends. Patrick bought me out of the game when I finally got out for the last time when I was 16. And, we just had a really good group of people. Henry Sue, Henry's son, Ian Nagapur was a big Atlanta Yu-Gi-Oh player. And that was probably one of the games I was more competitive with. And then I recently, this past year, and some of this year, started competing in Legend of the Five Rings.
Okay. I've demoed on that game one time.
Yeah, it's a really fun game. I like it a lot. The game actually has so many different lines of play and decision lines, which is what It's so well designed. It's really amazing. Like when you start your turn, when you do your like first attack,
Mm-hmm.
you have 10 different options for your first attack.
Wow. Okay. And that's like
Yeah.
every turn.
So every turn.
Wow. All right.
So and you and your opponent both attack on your turn and their turn. So it's just really interesting. It's about controlling how much you overextend your resources. It's a lot about resource management. It's a lot about knowing when to push the agenda and when to come back.
Okay.
It sort of goes back and forth like enhances do in UFS. So having UFS knowledge helps that. But I made some top eights in they call them Cote events. It's regional.
Okay. All right. All right.
Or I guess not Cote. They were elemental championship,
Okay.
but region style events. One in Jacksonville and one in Atlanta.
That's rad.
So
That's really rad.
yeah, but those are my side games mainly that I've had success in.
Yeah. Let's jump into UFS though. So like you said, successfully we've done the 2011 extended world champion. What does the lead up into that look like? What does a young Matthew do in order to become the 2011 world champion? How old were you, and so on and so forth?
I was, let's see, in 2011 I was 18 years old.
Okay.
I was actually
young
the
pup.
youngest champion. I was actually the youngest champion until Rio won.
Okay.
Rio Gopal, when he won teams, I think Rio was 17. So I was the youngest. I was the youngest reigning champion for a while. Actually, we did not. We did not really test like for extended and legacy that much.
Okay.
Like back then, some people did, but back then it was sort of just like a fun format that like gave cardboard away. So like people just kind of built decks and did old stuff that they liked doing.
Okay.
Now I will say in 2011 so in 2011 there were 4 championships. There was standard singles, standard teams, legacy, and extended, and we actually call it the sweep. Atlanta won all 4 of those events.
Wow. In 2011, right?
In 2011.
Yeah.
So Ben Shu and Drew, or Ben Shu and Drew, Wag, Shu, and Drew were the team's champions, and they played. It was Atlanta versus Atlanta teams finals. They played against me, Croswick, and Keenan in the finals, and we lost. Yeah,
honorably, of course.
Yeah, and then Keenan won legacy, like to start the weekend. He won singles, and then I won extended, which was the last event left.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a big thing. But so I did a lot of standard prep because we were prepping for standard,
For sure.
and I think I don't know if you've ever played other UFS formats or whatever, Tim, but when you just play a lot of UFS, you just kind of get yourself into the groove of, making sure you don't miss playing any abilities on any of your cards and just paying really close attention. And I say that was probably most of my success in 2011, winning extended, even though Keenan and I tested like probably 2 or 3 games,
and that's it,
of our decks, and that's
wow.
it. Yeah.
Okay, just being able to adapt to the situation, understand, like read your opponent's cards. How much card knowledge did you have of the field whenever you won?
Well, I had a good amount of card knowledge because, like I said, I started playing UFS set 1. I played original Soul Calibur 3 set and Street Fighter, so I have been playing UFS since the beginning. There have been up times and down times. Like I said, I was still playing some Yu-Gi-Oh when I was 16. I had to step away from UFS at times.
Yeah, it's okay to take breaks. Yeah,
sure.
For sure.
But basically, like, people kind of treated Legacy and Extended. They just kind of did stuff that they liked. So, I like big, like beefy characters, and Earth is one of my favorite symbols.
We're definitely gonna get into that.
Yeah, so I played Hugo, who's the 4 hand size 40 life character.
I've seen him on UFS Ultra. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, when you play a card, you can respond and draw a card, and after you play it twice, he taps. So he's basically a 640. And the reason I played it, this was a small amount of the metagaming, is I know Mark LeBlanc is a really big Felicia fan, and I knew that he was going to be there playing Felicia. So Feline Spike is a big part of that meta, which is basically like a reversal that's 7 damage and multiple 2.
Gross.
So it's like 24 damage attack. So the idea is like, oh, we'll just play, or maybe it's 8 damage, but it's basically like if you can land 1 Feline Spike, you can win the game.
Right.
And Felicia got like a lot of free momentum, and she could easily throw 2. Well, basically, the MVP of the deck was this card called Holding Ground, which it's R commit. You reduce this attack's damage to printed damage.
Yeah.
So multiples are printed damage of 0. So, and that was like one of the big attacks. So I was like, okay, look, I can take a full Feline Spike and not die.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And then I can just build a really good... I can build a really good foundation base and basically be a 640. And this is how like a lot of deck building and success came into. Okay, from there, I needed a kill condition, right? There were not a lot of attacks played in this format. So there was a card that pretty much everyone played. I don't know. I think it had Infinity, but it had at least like 5 or 6 symbols. It's called Tag Along.
Okay.
It's a 5/4 action that says form, take a card out of your discard pile and put it in your hand.
Okay.
So it's just like a form tutor action, or recur anything from your discard pile, not tutor. But so then basically you play that, you get the cards you need, and then I played a card called Sardines Beach Special.
Say that again, one more time.
It's a Armika card. It's called Sardines Beach Special.
That's such a baller name. That's a cool name.
It's a 7 difficulty 2-check throw. For 8 damage that says enhance commit 3 foundations. Your attack gets damage equal to the number of foundations in your opponent's staging area.
Gross. That's a bunch.
Yeah, so the idea is the format was actually horrible. It was so, the foundation areas were so broken. It was so hard to do damage. It was so hard to do damage. And people would just build giant staging areas. Some people were milling other people. I played, I think, 2 games in semifinals in 3.5 hours. And it was against Brian Harris. And Brian and I were like, dude, do you want to play for another 1.5 to 2 hours? And he was like, no. And we actually... Well, I don't know if I should say this or not, but basically it's already happened, and this is before a lot of the floor rules came in.
It's the history of the game.
But we decided to die roll.
Whoa.
The semifinal game 3.
Whoa.
Because we did not want to suffer through playing the format anymore. The format was famous for being real bad.
Yeah, that's like the definition of Grey Wars.
So bad.
Yeah.
I played Shane Duckworth in the finals.
And
we were talking to each other about, okay, is there any way we can't play this matchup? Like, can we split a card? Like, and then his thing was like, well, I'll give you the packs, you give me the champ card. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
No.
And then basically, like, my other Atlanta teammates brought up the fact, we're like, well, yeah, but Piglet, you can sweep it for us. And I was like, all right, yeah, we're going to go. And by then, the Gen Con hall was closing. So we had to go, like, outside of, like, the main hall to play this match.
That's so grassroots. Like, that's so crazy.
So grassroots.
It's like when you look back on it, it's like a really neat niche thing of, like, yeah, we're so rough and tumble. We're going to go play out in the lobby. But, like, when it comes to, like, an event, like, you got to do something about it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. So back to what Sardines Beach Special does. It became a giant throw, and then you probably remember this card, Tam. There's a card called Body of Souls that's just form, commit, take a card out of your momentum and put it in your hand. It was what Surveyor was before Surveyor.
I know Surveyor. I don't remember Body of Souls. Yeah, but okay. I trust you.
So basically, Body of Souls was I splashed it. So it had all, and a lot of Hugo's cards had all and earth.
Okay.
So I splashed for 4 of those, so I could. So if they had damage reduction, like a lot of people did, a lot of people had holding ground and stuff like that. Good and Earth were really good in the format, and that it has good Earth and Order. And basically, if they just reduced my stuff a lot or holding ground it, it's still an 8 damage throw.
Yeah.
So, like, if I can just set up a gray wall and play this 8 damage throw over and over again, I'm going to win the game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that became a philosophy for the future, which we'll talk about more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you ended up winning the event, and I actually don't have the card pull up in front of me. What was the name of your champ card? What'd you do? I'm going to post it up on the screen
I'll pull it up. The name of my champ card is Winners Never Quit.
Hey, and you didn't. You tried to split, and you were like, absolutely not. That's an amp name. So what's it do, and what was the design process when it came to making your card?
Okay, so Winners Never Quit. Winners Never Quit has a lot of background, but a lot of it is sort of like being ironic. So when I was playing Extended, I played a 40 life character, and I played a 40 life character, and I had a lot of damage reduction and stuff like that. So my philosophy, and it is still a lot in this game, is that blocking is for bitches.
Okay,
that was something that I said, and that a lot of us said. Blocking is for bitches. Like, you block with your staging area. You don't actually block, or you block with your face. Yeah. You play 40 life. Right? Yeah. So the irony of the card is that it does stuff on block.
Okay.
And the reason is because I'm a proud American.
Right.
And being American is all about being a hypocrite.
For sure.
So
that's good. That's good. That's good.
So in the design process behind the card is basically, I wanted my card to be good in all aspects of the game. I wanted it to be good on block. I wanted it to be good on offense. I wanted it to be good on defense. I wanted it to be easy to play. And when you checked it, I didn't want you to put your head down and say, dang, I didn't wish I checked that. Because the other extended card before that was Garrett's card. And he had like a discard pile recursion piece, but it was a 4 difficulty action that had a 3 check. Called When the Moon Comes Over the Mountain.
That's like a staple in every deck ever. Like, the card's insane. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that card is insane, but like, if you check Garrett's card, you're not excited about it.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Sometimes it's hard to play. So, like, that's where I wanted to make my card different than his. So my card has a 1 difficulty.
And because you were the second extended champion? After Garrett. And so you made a card exactly opposite of his. That's really cool. I did not know that. That's interesting.
Well, we kind of had similar abilities, which his card was still better than mine, but I wanted to be a little bit different. Yeah, there's actually been 4 extended champions. There's been me, Garrett, and Kevin Broberg. And we're all world champions. And then actually Mike Hardiman was a UK extended champion. So we are the only people in the game with assets. Or with actions.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool.
Yeah. So basically, it's a 1/5. It has a first enhance that says this attack gets plus X damage. X equals your opponent's hand size minus 3. So basically, I wanted to reward people for playing lower hand size. So my card gave damage depending on your opponent's hand size. Basically, this is a throwback to a card called Absurd Strength.
Okay.
Which was a really powerful card. Absurd Strength just said this attack gets plus X damage. X equals your opponent's hand size. So, and it wasn't firsty. So it was like, basically, you could play this card called Chain Throw. It was a big throw with stun 2. And then they just called it Hammer. You just say hammer, hammer, hammer. And this gets plus 21 damage. This is 26 damage throw coming
Reminds
at
me
you.
a lot of Gateway Shuffle.
Yes, similar to Gateway Shuffle. So basically, I wanted to be able to do that. I wanted to play it easily, so I wanted to be a 1 diff. Then the R says, after you block with this card, add one non-reversal attack from your discard pile to your hand. Remove this card from the game during the end phase. I think the remove this card from the game kind of got added on because back in the day there used to be a little bit more discard pile recursion and stuff like that. I'll tell you a little bit about an Omar deck that recurred winners never quit a lot. Basically, I wanted to be able to get attacks.
Yeah.
Like, that was a big part of my game plan. Body of Souls, picking up attacks, tag along, picking up attacks. I wanted something that would help in games. So you basically block and you can get an attack. The reason the card says non-reversal is because I wanted my card to have fire, but I didn't want my card to be abused by Vespera.
Oh,
I don't know if you're familiar with Vespera.
I've heard the horror stories.
Yes. So, like, Vespera was already, like, really dumb, and she could recur one on block anyways. Well, I didn't want her to recur 2 attacks off of my card.
That makes sense.
So I put the non-reversal text in there.
It kind of goes with the theme of, like, the deck that you won, right? The whole point of the deck was to, like, pick up this big crazy throw and then play it. And then you block and you pick up that big crazy throw and then you'll play it again. Like, it's on brand. It's on brand.
Yes. I want to make a note about my first D. Yeah. I laughed at Jeremy Ray. I beat him in a game by 1 damage. Basically, in my answer, he was like, wait, your card does that? And I was like, my card's well designed. But if you notice the first enhance, it says X equals your opponent's hand size minus 3. It does not say printed hand size. He had a Super Skullman 33 stacked, which was 1 extra damage to kill him.
That's so rad. Let's go. That's hype. That's hype.
Yeah. So, and then my symbols. I'm actually not that crazy about all. I play all some. Like, I've gotten more onto it. I had a lot of hate for it in 2012, 2013 because it was really strong and. I used to, all the Michigan guys used to play all, I call them all Michigan fanboys. A lot of them still do. And like that became like a rivalry thing. But basically I needed all on my character to play Body of Souls. So I was like, okay, all. Okay. Right. Earth is my favorite symbol. So I wanted to have Earth. It was the symbol I wanted.
Why is that? Why is that?
Earth is the best throw symbol. Throw is my favorite keyword in UFS. Okay. I think having success with low hand size characters, especially in the past, they're designed a little bit better now, but it was basically like if you wanted to play a lower hand size, you almost had to play a throw deck because when you actually drew attacks with a 4 or 5 hand size, you needed them to deal damage because you're not going to see enough attacks throughout the game to end it. So basically, Earth was always good with that. They always had really defensive, like, wall game. Like, basically, a lot of the time how I build a deck, and other people have different philosophies, but, like, I try to build a strong foundation base that's hard to kill, and then I will... like, then be like, okay, now let's put a kill condition in this deck, let's put attacks in this deck, and then go from there. Sure. So, like, Earth was, like, a big way to have a really great foundation base. Fire was the symbol that I played in Standard. Fire was really, really strong in 2011, mainly because of this combo called Wheel Kick Lifter. Z-May's Wheel Kick was a 3-diff, 1 damage, stun 3. Okay. So it's basically like play a 1 damage attack and stun 3 on them. And then Dragon Lifter was combo kick, and it was basically like an 8 damage attack. And that was back before there were like a lot. It was 4 diff and like 8 damage off the combo. So that was before attacks were just printed with 8 damage. Yeah. You know? So it was basically, and I was playing Cassandra, and the new Cassandra does similar to what the old one did, but basically you would reveal a card from your hand and it would get speed equal to the block modifier.
That's very similar.
And Dragon Lifter had a 4 block mod. So if you had one in hand, you could give all your attacks 4 speed. and then you would stun them out, and then like you got
Wow.
them. You got
Oh,
them
for
there.
sure. For sure. So let's flash forward
Yeah,
to 2016. What team's world champion? You as at the setup of our interview, you said that like one of your favorite things is the team's format. So I think you said you've got this whole script that you do whenever you prepare for a team's format. We'll save that for the next section, but like tell me really about like what happened in 2016. What gave you success there?
Before I go into that, Tim, I just want to say my card actually has 4
Oh,
symbols, so I know everyone would ask. My last symbol is
oh,
order.
for sure. Yeah.
And order is one of my favorite symbols from back in Legacy. I really like the board control and like committal aspect of the order symbol. So it's always been like a favorite pet symbol of mine. So that's why it has.
Have
order.
you ever played a character under order? Like to success?
Yes. I don't. Yes. Yeah. So my big deck in 2012. Which I didn't win with, but I had. I think I just missed top cuts in singles. I might have made top 16. I can't remember. But Mei-Lian, the one that they recently reprinted, the 534, you show pairs and give 5 damage. That was a big order deck that I played. Cool. And basically, Amy had like a little 4 difficulty, 4 speed low that was 3 damage and had multiple 2. So it was 24 damage in her, and they were all 4 speed lows. Wow. So it was kind of difficult to deal with.
Bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so 2016. Can you repeat the question one more time?
So I mean, this is a big 5-year jump, right? You're a different man. You're no longer a little baby boy. You can drink alcohol. You can almost rent. You can rent a car. Look at that, right? Math 23. Yeah, you can rent a car. What was the success? What was the secret sauce? Who was your teammates? What was the team comp? Paint me a picture about 2016 Worlds.
Sure. So 2016 was something special. Ooh. So our team started. I sort of started getting into like the Rochester lifestyle and the Rochester culture.
Okay.
And me and Sean and Kevin came to become good friends. And that really happened in this 5-year time period. And basically, at this time, before Hardiman won Extended in the UK, there were only 3 Extended champions. I told you about that.
Yeah, for sure.
It was me, Kevin Broberg, and Garrett Brett. So I said, guys, let's be the team of Extended champions. And obviously, you know the names on that team. That's an extremely good
stacked
team, right? So basically, we were like, okay, but this was when they had just switched Worlds to being Vegas, and they switched the location of Nationals. This is right after they went away from Gen Con, and like I was a big part of like kind of pushing away from Gen Con. I miss Gen Con a lot, but like Gen Con, UFS, in my opinion, had just gotten different. Like we were there to play UFS for 4 days, not go to Gen Con. And it was like we're paying and going through all these hoops of Gen Con going on. And like, why are we doing that? And that's how Atlanta Nationals sort of happened.
What's the parallels to that and Worlds being at Level Up Expo currently?
Basically, they wanted Worlds to go to Vegas because Nationals was Vegas. But Jason wanted to change it to the World Championship because that's his home office headquarters.
Sure. I was talking more like the fact that we're there to play UFS. It's not at Gen Con, but like currently for Worlds, we're there to play UFS, but it is at a convention still. Gen Con versus Level Up Expo.
In 2016, it was not at a convention.
Oh, okay.
It was actually amazing. We actually had a second floor Mezzian level ballroom
Whoa.
in Planet Hollywood, right
Whoa.
above the sports book,
Let's
and
go.
inside the casino, basically on the second floor.
Wow.
So it didn't start with the Level Up Expo thing. Now I think the Level Up Expo thing, this would be an interview for Jason, but I think
One day.
Jason wanted to start. Promoting the game,
Yeah, for sure.
a little bit more. Once it got more established at that time. So
Okay.
yeah, we were actually in Vegas just at the Planet Hollywood.
That's rad.
Amazing time. So when they switched that up, there was a gentleman who used to play UFS. His name was Marcus. Marcus was from California. He's really good friends with Iari.
Mm-hmm.
Sweetheart of a guy. Awesome, like just really fun to hang out with. Well, in Vegas, Garrett would always team with Marcus.
Yeah.
Like that was something that he did. So Garrett was like, guys, I'm going to step off the team. It's too overpowered anyways
Yeah.
of a team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to team with Marcus, but I'll tell you what, I'll leave you my butler. So
The
we
butler.
were also friends with Devin.
Yeah.
Devin Bernier.
Yes. I think I've met
We
him
were
twice,
friends.
I believe.
Yeah, so Devin is a really close friend of mine now. Basically, we were like, sure, we'll play with Devin. And at 2014 Gen Con was the first time Devin and I met. And we were playing the last round, and winner made it into top 16.
Wow.
And we said, all right, the winner is going to make it into top 16. So the winner of this match is going to buy the guy that's out of top 16 a beer. And we were like, all right, let's do that.
Let's do it.
That's so
That's
community
that's
right
100% what I'm talking about. Best community in gaming. It's so good.
Yes.
So good.
So basically, I won. So I had to buy Devin a beer. We went out for a beer. I was friends with Garrett. I was friends with Marco Blanc. They were close friends
Yeah.
of his. We became friends. We played each other, and he gave me one of the ass beatings of my life in 2015. So I beat him in 2014. I probably played, and I was playing Clark at this time in 2015 Gen Con. It was such a horrid beating, just real bad beatdown. And he was actually playing Psyche off of air at this time. So this is sort of how our team started piecing together.
I love it.
So they were like our pet characters. Well, basically, Devin, we're like, Kevin and I love it because it's Kevin and Devin. So we go up, and I was like, Devin, we want you to play with us since Garrett, if you're down. And he was like, yeah, I'd love that, guys. And I was like, but there's a catch. I was like, you have to play under Rochester CCG. Ooh. And so that's how our team name was created. Our team name was Canadian Heel Turn, because Devin turned on his Canadian group and played for Rochester. We got him the orange
Let's
shirt.
go. Once you go orange, you win.
And, yes, once you go orange, you win. So how we built this team was Devin had almost 2 years of experience on Psyche.
Okay.
I had almost 2 years of experience on Clark. And we were just playing these characters as much as we could. Every event, just like making changes to the deck. New set comes out, make some changes to the deck. Like just trying to build it. And I knew that Clark is my favorite character that I've ever played in UFS. And I'm sure that was a question that that you would ask me. But basically, I knew that I could win something with this character. I just had to really work, really grind, really learn all the matchups I could, really build the best deck possible. And basically that is how I did that over time, is starting playing it in, I think it was 2014 or 15. The New Orleans PTC was the first time I ever played Clark. And looking at that deck from the time I won, it was so much worse. But I had to start somewhere.
For sure.
And and Devin was also playing in that event, and he didn't even make top 8 in like a 16-man tournament or something. And he missed top 8, and he was playing Psyche.
Okay.
So, he was even thinking about, I'm not sure. And he's played Psyche off of all 3 symbols. I played Clark off of wood and fire in cardboard events. And then basically our wild card was Kevin. So Kevin was building these really weird decks that Devin and I didn't understand. And even after we took him on the team and we accepted that he wanted to play this deck, he was playing Athena. And that was one of his favorite characters. And his second design character is a throwback to this deck that he played in 2016.
This is Assets Athena, correct?
Assets Athena.
This is the deck that made me fall in love with UFS. James Stevens actually built me this deck after I sathey Ben Shoemaker play it at the Arkansas PTC, and it is what inspired me to push Dr. Wily so hard, because they essentially work the same way of how many allies can I play, blow this thing up, build them down. I'm very familiar with this deck. Yeah.
Yes. So that was. And it's an awesome deck.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, your Wily deck was an awesome deck. I mean, we loved your Wily ally tech. I mean, that was what you were famous for off the bat.
Oh, thank you.
But basically, Kevin invented this.
Yeah.
He came up with this whole assets thing. And Devin and I didn't really understand it. And we were doing deck checks for each other because Kevin is famous for failing his deck check.
I cannot wait for his Champions Corner. It's going to be a big roast fest for sure.
And I was sitting there deck checking him. And at this point, I think you remember some of these cards. So you remember the card Caught Red-Handed.
Yes, absolutely. That card's nuts.
Okay, Kevin played one Caught Red-Handed in his deck. Just one.
Okay.
And I was like, Kevin, why does this deck have like almost 20-something assets? Maybe it was more, I can't remember. But I was like, why does this deck have 20-something assets and one Caught Red-Handed in it?
Yeah.
And his exact words were, hey, man, just trust me on this. Trust me on this. And I was like, okay. And I was like, Devin trusts you too. Because our idea of our team was, I build a lot of team strategies and stuff, but with me, Kevin, and Devin, our idea for this team, it was sort of a last hurrah of some of the characters we were getting to play. Clark and Psyche, they were going to get rotated by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So basically, our idea was, look, I have the most Clark experience and matchup knowledge. My deck also had the best Kim matchup.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll talk about in teams a lot of being able to take the best deck that's on everyone's team and have something to automatically pair it into and win. A good way to have successful winning team. Kim just couldn't, especially my build, Kim could not beat my Clark deck. Then there was Devin. He had the most Psyche experience. He loved that deck. It was aggressive. It attacked the staging area really well, controlled the board. It was awesome. And then Kevin, he really just believed in this Assets Athena deck. He told us to trust him. He believed in it. He had a lot of experience practicing it up to this event.
The power of friendship.
Our idea of our team was, we're the best players of these characters. Mm-hmm. It was honestly a little bit cocky, but it was like, we are the best players of these characters, and we know the matchup knowledge. So much of teams is knowing your matchup knowledge.
For sure.
And we were like, we'll just take our matchup knowledge and experience and just beat everyone that sits across from us, because we know our deck better than they know theirs.
Yeah.
and because we played it for 2 years,
For sure.
Devin and I mainly, and then Kevin's new deck. So to go into basically how we figured out about what Devin's deck did, it was the 4th round of teams.
Out of how many rounds?
I played out of 5 rounds.
Perfect.
We're at table 1. I think Keenan was playing with Shu and Wag in this tournament.
Okay.
But Keenan played against Kevin, and Kevin just like beats him. And he was like, "What is this? This is some of the most broken stuff I've ever seen." At this point, Tim, Devin and I are just trusting Kevin. We don't actually know what his deck does.
You've got 4 rounds. What are you doing?
No, we don't. Yeah, no, we don't. Like he just told us to trust us. Like we don't fully know how it works. Like the Tame Yose.
Yeah, Tame Yose, DeForester.
Like
garbage.
We don't know.
Oh, it's so good.
We don't know how it. We seriously, we didn't know how it works. He told us to trust him, and we did. And we were like, "All right, man, you believe in this deck, we'll trust you." But we didn't know what it did.
Yeah.
And then Kevin and I, or Keenan and I, are good friends and teammates. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "What's so broken about his deck, Keenan?" And then he basically shows DeForester and Athena and Tame Yose and all this stuff. And he was like, every time he plays an attack, he destroys a committed foundation, draws a card, and gets a ready foundation. And then I just looked at Devin and I was like, "Oh, that's broken."
That's
Devin.
so good. It's so good.
And I was like, Kevin, I didn't, because if you know Kevin Broberg, he builds a lot of jank decks.
He loves it.
And some of them work, some of them don't, but he actually calls himself the Johnny Spike Timmy.
Yeah.
He actually calls himself a Timmy because he likes to build build a big deck like a little kid and make a big combo or something like that. So we just figured it was some Kevin Broberg jank that people weren't going to know how to pair in teams.
Okay.
We had no idea it was this broken degenerate combo that was going to get banned next week, right?
Yeah.
So we figured that out in the 4th round because Keenan was complaining, and I was like, "Keenan, what does the deck even do?" And it was Keenan that pulled it out and was like, "This and this," and he gets a ready foundation and draws a card after every attack. And then I was just like, "Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This could be a problem."
Yeah. Well, not a problem currently. You're 4 rounds deep into a Worlds event.
Right. We're 4-0 right now, baby. We're 4-0. So in the last round, Tam, especially after we figured out about this broken combo, we were just rolling through teams. At this point, we are feeling really cocky because we've just figured out that Kevin has a broken deck.
Yeah.
So we play against a team of Bryce, Brett Hillman, and Brandon Jones.
All Vegas kids.
All Vegas. Yeah, I think Brandon was their 3rd. I'm pretty sure. And
all
we played. Yeah, I know it was Brandon.
All current champions? They all have cardboard, correct?
I don't know if Hillman has a card, but I know Bryce and Brandon do. Because they have one with, I think, with Chris Pratt.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, we play against these guys, table 1, going for Swiss champ, and we're like, we want to try and undefeated this tournament.
Absolutely.
Well, we lose.
Oh no.
And that was a really humbling loss. That was the loss we needed to take us down a notch, to not underestimate our opponents, to take the tournament a little more seriously from here on out. We played against that team in the finals.
Okay.
And we 3-0'd them.
There we go.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Bryce was also playing Athena, not assets, but Athena was very strong at that time.
For sure.
And he had some main deck throw hate and things like that. And he paired himself into me, and I 2-0'd him.
Wow.
But he 2-0'd me in Swiss. So we always joked, it's like, oh yeah, we let them win in Swiss to get their hopes up, to mess up their match knowledge. Then they pair the 18 life character into the throw deck, thinking it's a good matchup.
What a bunch of idiots!
But it was. I mean, he had a lot of throw hate in the deck and things like that, but it was the right call. And what was funny story about that is, Devin was playing against Brandon Jones. And I remember I was on game 1 against Bryce, like on turn 5.
Right.
And Devin is picking up his cards and shuffling his deck. And like he kind of like pats me on the back and he's like, "Good luck, guys." And I was like, "Oh, how'd the game go?" And he's like, "Oh, I got it." And I was like, "Oh, game 1?" And he's like, No, 2-0, it's over. It was 15 minutes, Tim. He just ripped the staging area with old Dr. Wily cards, holographic Buster, and all those old Wily cards off of death. And he just ripped the staging area and just like, I guess Devin maybe turned 2 or 3 to 2 games back to back.
Wow.
I was just like, wow.
Yes.
So at that point, like we're up 1 game in 15 minutes. So Hillman is playing Kim. Of course, they don't want the Kim Clark matchup.
Sure.
So he's playing into Assets Athena, and they're having a back and forth game. And I actually think they go to a game 3.
Okay.
We're playing a long game. I'm playing a grindy deck, and I'll talk a little bit about what my deck did. But finally, Kevin is about to go for a kill turn in game 3, and on my game 2, Bryce, he didn't have a throw block anymore, and I played enough to kill him on the half block. And so we won, and we were so excited. We all were hugging each other, high-fiving. Another something interesting that was really special to me is, so my friend Josh Croswick, we lost in the team's finals in 2011, like I was telling you about. Josh also did my art for Winners Never Quit.
That's cool.
And he passed away in 2014 in a car accident. So he was one of my best friends, and I think I have it here. Let me see in this drawer.
Yeah.
Not to mess up the interview.
Hey,
but
take your time.
Josh always, here it is. Josh had this custom mat done that is him. It's like him riding a dragon. Let me see if you can see it here. So that's him. He's riding a dragon. He had it done. Keenan has one as well. They had these mats made at Gen Con. And I always felt like Josh was good enough to win cards. So after he passed, I started playing on this mat because this mat was always good enough to have a championship played and won on it.
Yeah.
So I basically ruined Devin after we won because I played on this mat the whole time, and it was sort of like being able to win one for Josh because he never got a chance to.
God, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, and they were, such a big part of that, and I thanked them, and, we were crying and stuff like that. And then after that, I retired Josh's mat. It retired, a champion.
Attaboy. That's so, wow, that's a really cool thing for you to do. That's really, really awesome.
It was awesome. It really meant a lot to me that I even got that mat. Me and Josh were close, and I was close with his mother. We grew up playing cards together. He taught me how to play UFS.
Wow.
He gave me that demo, Taki versus Chun-Li.
Wow.
Wow. We were teammates, and basically, his mother, we shared cards. He shared cards with me and Keenan and other people, and his mother said, Matt, is there anything of Josh's, that you want or anything? And I said, there is one thing. Her name is Peggy. I said, there's one thing, Miss Peggy. I said, Josh has a mat, a card mat that is a picture of him, and I would really like that if you would be willing to give it to me. And she said, of course. And I did his funeral and everything like that in my professional life.
Wow.
So she gave me that, and it was just really special to me that, you know, and that was just it was a special moment in my life in general that I'll never forget, and I'll always be grateful to Josh Croswick and Keenan Meadows, who, you know, was our teammate and everything like that, and a close friend of Josh as well. And I'll always be grateful to Kevin and Devin, because they helped me accomplish that goal in teams. And, you know, that was just it was a highlight of my life, to be honest with you, man.
That's so awesome. I'm so happy I got to do this. This is so cool. That's such an awesome story to tell. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, like, really.
Sure.
Okay, so bringing it back. That was wow.
Yeah.
Pull my trigger. Pull my trigger.
Yes.
This is right around the time that I got into UFS universes, and this is the exact moment. As I said, like, the first deck I ever played at a PTC was Elecman.
Oh, nice.
It was playing Valiant Assault and doing a bunch of cool stuff, and then I sat down and I watched Ben Shoemaker make Kevin's DeForester Athena, and then on the car ride home, James was like, I have all these cards, let's do it. And I actually went and got second place behind Chris Nixon, him playing Metal Man, which was basically another DeForester deck.
A similar deck, yep.
And so we it like really kickstarted that, and Pull My Trigger has been in like every deck that I've ever wanted to play. The year that I almost topped with Vega, it was in there. It was in Dr. Wily when I topped. It was like I put it in everything that I possibly could, because Pull My Trigger is just such a neat card. And I've heard you explain some of the theory behind you guys making it, but like when it comes to making a team's asset, it's way different than your action, because you've got two other people to talk to, right? How did the asset come about? What's the idea behind it?
So we all had a little input on this, and it was we all had certain things that mattered a lot to us on this card. To me, I really enjoy like the art and being a part of the game of UFS.
Yeah.
More than I care as much about my abilities on the card. Like, yes, obviously, I want a good card. I want it to do something I would enjoy playing.
Yeah.
But I get lost in the art, in the artwork. And while we're having an interesting interview about me, I'll give a little backstory. So
I'd love it. And I'll have the art pulled up on the screen as we're in post.
In the card, Winners Never Quit.
Yeah.
I am wearing a singlet, which that's a old story where I pulled out my old yellow powerlifting singlet in the tournament in top 8. Just like pulled down the shorts, took off the shirt, played top 8 in a singlet.
Let's go.
I have a shield and sword and an Achilles helmet on. And something that was really unique that Josh really wanted is he wanted rubies on the hilt of my sword and a ruby on the shield. And I was like, okay, Josh, I mean, that's fine. He for some reason, he just really wanted to put rubies on it. And I was like, dude, it's your art. Like, I trust you, whatever you want to do. Well, then I made this card. So this card design is basically, we are hired guns for Sean O'Brien.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it was in real life, and this is sort of how it is in the UFS game here. So originally,
God, I love this art.
Originally the card's name was going to be Hired Guns.
Okay.
And I'll get into how the name changed. But we wanted Sean to be like overlooking us, sort of like M. Bison is in a lot of like Street Fighter art and stuff like that. And I wanted to be like a guard, like a security guard character. Like I think I kind of look like the big boss man from wrestling. I have a shotgun and stuff like that. And this is where my backstory for UFS is. My character is a time-traveling mercenary.
Okay.
So the rubies in the sword and shield that Josh gave me allow me to time travel.
Okay.
And I am basically a mercenary warrior. So I'm fighting in the Achilles time period of, the Greek empires and things like that. And then I've come and fight present day because Sean O'Brien is paying me big money.
That Rochester
money. I also have that Rochester money. I also have card designs, ideas, and arts that I've looked towards where like a space age type card art, also like a Templar Knight.
That's really rad.
Card art. So basically, if I win more, which I haven't,
which you're going to,
if I win more, then I will have more time periods to go into.
That's awesome.
But basically, that's the idea behind my character in UFS and why I have Achilles helmet and shield and sword, and then I have, I have a shotgun in this one.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Like I like to tie things together. Stories matter to me. Character development matters to me. All right. Sorry.
No,
that was a rant.
I love it. Nobody would have known that unless you told us right now.
Right.
That's so rad.
So the art was, we just kind of wanted to, represent Sean. We wanted to just have characters that we liked. We wanted to shout out. I have sunglasses on. I wear sunglasses a lot, but so did Clark.
Yeah.
I'm like a big guy, like he was, arms crossed. So like we all like give little shout outs to our characters in our decks.
Yeah.
Devin has like black magic, and he's wearing his classic scarf, and like he's supposed to be like kind of psyche-ish. And Kevin, not a lot of people even realize he is who he is.
Yeah.
Is because he's wearing Athena's wig.
Yep.
And he is also wearing Hanya.
Yes.
Which Hanya is one of our favorite cards.
That card's cool.
I actually off-symboled for Hanya. I played a Fire Clark deck, but off-symboled Hanya off of order because this combo is so good. And then Kevin also did it. He also played Hanya in his deck.
Yeah.
So that's how we got the art. We were thinking about artists, also our friends Church, Rodney, and Marco. They were also designing a card because they won 2016 Nationals.
Yeah.
And they were showing us their art. And I think their art looks great, but I like for my art to be a little more animated.
Yeah.
Like if you look at, let's see, their card is called Badger Club. If you look at Badger Club, like the art is so good. Those guys look like really realistic. Sure. And like I wanted it to be a little more animated. And then, so what we actually decided was we wanted to decide what our background was of our card. So we basically were like, let's get a cool background and then go from there. So let me double check here. But we wanted a cool background of how we designed our art and things like that from there. So what we did is we just started looking at characters and art and stuff that we liked, and we found Marathi's art. And I like Soul Calibur. It's got swords and stuff. Tim, if you will, to the people on the screen, I'd like you to show the card Shadow of Death.
Shadow of Death?
Still standard legal. Yep.
Okay. Hey, look at that.
Look at the background of Shadow of Death.
I love it. Yeah,
it's
that's
the same background as Pulled My Trigger.
Yeah.
So we saw that like skyline, like sunset skyline on that card, and we said, we want that, and we want that artist because we like Marathi's art.
Wow.
And we think that she would do a good job. So that's what we did.
Big shout out to Glass House Graphics.
Yeah, we also went through some time of possibly my friend Ian Nagapur doing our art. That didn't work out over some things that I won't get in touch with, but I do want to give Ian a shout out because Ian did all the original sketches of how like Sean is overlooking us and the three of us there like in his torso area. And he put all that together, and basically like his work was showed to the other artists. So I have to give like a special shout out to Ian Nagapur for the work he did for our art.
For sure.
Okay, on to the card.
Yeah.
So, like I said, our card's original name was going to be Hired Guns. Well, Kevin goes to me and Devin. You'll learn something about Kevin Broberg in this interview.
I'm excited.
All of Kevin Broberg's cards are song lyrics.
Okay.
That is a little something special he wanted in UFS.
I dig it.
So he said, guys, I have all these cards that are designed. They're all song lyrics, and it's like something special. And he was like, I don't care. I'll let you guys name the card. I just would like it to be a song lyric if possible, and we can all agree on it. And we were like, of course, because, it was really easy to design the card amongst ourselves. Yeah. It was more difficult of getting abilities passed through Shane Duckworth. Special shout out to Shane Duckworth. But basically, we just started looking, and we were looking through songs, and we were looking through songs that we like. And I was like, and then eventually a couple days later, I came back and I said, guys, we all love Queen. What about Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yes.
Mama just killed a man, pulled my trigger, flavor text.
Now he's
dead. So the idea is that we were hired guns, so we were like, yeah, let's go with pulled my trigger.
That's such a good name.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
So that is something special a little, and I'd like for you to interview Kevin sometime, and he can tell you more because he has so many cards. He has cool little things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Easter eggs that people don't know about. The last is Devin, and Devin was a little bit, he was more about, he was really easy to work with. We all had input with the abilities, but we really wanted Devin to like the abilities of the card because he won a UK card called, I think it's called Tiny Wizards?
Squishy Wizards.
Squishy Wizards, yeah. So Squishy Wizards is Devin's card, and he won that card, but it wasn't that great, and he was like, yeah, like the card is cool, but I wish we had a little bit of a better card.
That's the card that beat me in Worlds versus Rodney. Is he was able to stop my Skull Fortress, so that's what's killed me. Whatever.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Not that great.
Little salt over that one.
Whatever.
Little salt over that one, Kim. But Devin wasn't that excited about that card design, so we wanted him to have a card that he would like and he would play. Yeah. So basically, a lot of what he did in his Psyche deck is destroy foundations and be aggressive, right? Sort of how Jeddah is played now. For sure. Right? You just attack, you rip their board, and it's hard for them to come back.
Could you imagine this card in Jeddah right now? Gross.
Amazing.
Gross.
So basically, we decided let's do some foundation destruction. Kevin actually had to give us some leeway because a lot of his cards don't have blocks. He doesn't like having blocks on his cards. But like I said earlier, I like for my card to be good in all aspects of the game. So I want my card to be able to block if I can. So basically, we gave it the block ability. The block ability is a static text because I really like the character Caden 3 Dot.
Yes.
Which unfortunately, I built a lot of builds, but I never got to take it to a major. Pulled My Trigger is sort of designed for 3 Dot Caden.
I mean, it's got all three of his symbols, right?
It has all three of his symbols. Okay. His reaction ability is weird because you react on the block after the block's played, so you don't get a timing window to play a response on a block and then add it to your hand. So the card had to be static text. Like, we were adamant about it. We were like, no negotiation. Like, just take the card if it can't be static text. Like, the static text is not going to break it, but it cannot be R. And they were like, guys, why don't you just make it R? Because you didn't design Caden right. It can't be R.
It can't. We're
okay?
not allowed.
It can't be. And then we also, like, a lot of the, like, DeForester stuff you were talking about, people were getting, like, face-down foundations. So I wanted to make it a point that when you blocked with Pulled My Trigger, you really got a good card that mattered to your opponent.
For sure.
So that's where we put the text, destroy a ready face-up foundation.
Yeah.
Because when you block with this card, it's a 3-high block. You deserve to make your opponent lose 1 resource. And that was sort of where Kevin and I, like Hanya, where this card takes away, like, 1 resource. Like, in a roundabout way, it adds +1 difficulty to all your opponent's cards because they lose that.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though we like Hanya better,
Yeah, of course.
still.
Yeah.
Second, if you'll pull up on the screen, there is a card called Yimmerfang. Or people say it's pronounced Mirfang, but it's Yimmerfang. It's Ymirfang. Yimmerfang is a Ragnar card.
Yeah.
This card was key to my Omar throw deck off of Earth that picked up. It recurred a lot of Winners Never Quits and stuff like that. And I ended up losing to Jeremy Ray, who won his first character card in semifinals. There was some controversy. I'm not going to bring up old stuff, but that deck should have won that tournament. Like, we'll leave it
at that. When Jeremy Ray gets on, we'll hear his half of the story. That's for sure.
Yeah. But basically, it's a 3/4, and you destroy a foundation to give your attack 3 damage. I basically just wanted to reprint that card. Yeah. We put in so many different ideas, went back and forth. We probably designed 20. We came up with the static text ability really quickly, and we knew we wanted to do that. And then the actual, like, enhanced response, whatever, we probably submitted 20 different ideas. Wow. And then it got to the point where I was like, all right, well, like, guys, like, we want to kill people. Like, you destroy foundations in your deck, like, for big plays and stuff like that, Kevin. Like, would you guys be down just to reprint Yimmerfang? Like, it's one of my favorite cards ever. And Devin is a big fan of playing Dr. Wily as well. And he played Dr. Wily 1-dot. And so they were like, let's do that. Let's do that. So we ended up going with that. And we just, like, we love it. It's one of my favorite cards ever. It's really basic, but it's a really good way to just finish a game.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was so happy, and all of us were, when Dan Hughes, Hughesy won the national championship playing Athena, using Pulled My Trigger damage pump to finish the game. And so that was really special for us. We wanted to see people do well with our card because we knew our card wasn't broken. It's a 3/4. Yeah,
just 3/4 with a 3 high.
I would have loved for it to be a 5 check, right? But we were so happy that someone was able to win with it.
For sure.
And that's the story of Pulled My Trigger.
I love it. So now is the time where I get to sit back and I get to get learned because I am terrible at teams. I'm awful. I'm so bad. I always try and bring these, like, terrible, fun, gimmicky decks. Piglet, I want you to sit down and spin me a yarn. How do I become this world 2020's world teams champion? I'm going to turn the camera off. You're just talking to me now. All right?
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. TCG University fans, it's time to get learnt, stay learnt, been learnt. All right. So here we go. This is Piglet's Teams Tech Corner. Tam was asking me some of my achievements when we started this interview, and I only have the 2 world championships. I haven't won any PTCs. I got second place at a Rochester one once, but I have made top cuts in every team's event I have ever played in except 2012 Worlds. So it's at least 10 somewhere. It's a good amount, 10 or 12 teams events. I missed a couple of Vegas's. The key to teams is preparation, is matchup knowledge. The reason we won in 2016 is because we knew our decks better than our opponent knew theirs. If you have someone that is really good at playing a deck, if Tamron Cardwell can play Dr. Wily on your team, let him play Dr. Wily on your team because he knows the pairings that are beneficial to him. Teams are all about pairings, and people that know their deck and their matchup knowledge the best is very important. A big part of teams, usually there is a very popular deck, something that is, big in the meta, played a lot, things like that. If I had to take from the latest event, this past Nationals, Tim Keefe, to me, looked like the big deck. I think he was on every team that made top 8. I'm not 100% sure about that.
If not, he should have been. Right.
So if I was going to build a team in that format, I would say, all right, we need at least one deck that can beat Tim Keefe.
Now, but like, how do you decide that? How do you decide what beats Tim Keefe, right? If he's the big bad.
Yes. Sure, you got to do your research.
Okay.
And you might have to cheese him.
Okay.
You might have to play cheese. He might have a bad matchup against Ulrich. But you need to play Ulrich on your team because the idea is everyone has a Tim Keefe deck on their team, so we can always pair this Ulrich.
Yeah.
Right? So just picking a random character. Now, where you can get really dangerous is if a character is really that popular, like when Vespera was. So let's say Tim Keefe is so popular, he's going to be on every team. Same way Kim was. You know he's going to be on every team. You know what you should do, Tam? Play 3 decks that can beat Tim Keefe. Every team auto loses a match against you every time.
If you can find the thing that just auto wins versus Tim.
Right. If you find 3 decks that have very favorable Tim Keefe matchups, you should have a breach.
When we say very favorable, what kind of percentage are we talking about? Like, if it's like a 50-50, are you saying push for a 60?
No, you're talking. I mean, when I'm talking, if you're, let's say you're just doing one character. If you're doing one character on your team, like you want like a 70 or 80% matchup, right? Like you want to be able to, you want a deck that's like, all right, we want to pair this deck into Tim Keefe. Now, when it comes to having like 3, like you might have like, okay, like we're still going to do Ulrich and have a 70% win rate. But if they win the pairing, let's say we want to play Ryu, who has a 60% win rate. I know these examples are really bad, but I'm just picking bad
people at home are going to be like,
argue.
Like, Ryu got that one attack,
So people don't argue with me about like, oh no, the Jetta Tim Keefe matchup is not in Jetta's favor. So like Ryu has a good Tim Keefe matchup.
As for sure he does. Yeah, yep.
And so he has a 60% win rate, let's say. And then like your last deck, like is like a 50-50 with Tim. Let's say that. So it's like the best they can pick if everyone is playing Tim Keefe, then the best they can do is a 50-50 matchup if they win their die roll. If you win the die roll, you're going to pair an 80% matchup in your favor. So that's really good, being able to have that. I also highly recommend having, like, usually it's a control deck, but like basically like a really like a deck that people don't want to play against.
Okay. like
Like
an anchor, like an annoyance. Yeah.
Yes. So my example in this meta would be like Goro.
Yeah.
Like I guess it's a little different in this past meta because like you could like rip his staging area apart and stuff like that. So it wasn't as good. But like when I was playing Clark, like no one like wanted to play against Clark.
Yeah.
You know, it's like oh, like I have to like I guess maybe even a better example than Goro. This meta is like Gil.
Yeah.
Like so like Gil is like really hard to kill. He gains life. It's hard to block him. It's like no one is like, hey, I'd like to be paired into the Gil matchup, please. Right? That's a better example. Yeah. So like no one's like, oh yeah, I want Gil. I want to play against Gil. Like even if your attacks have a bunch of keywords, which is probably the deck you're going to play it into, it's like, But like Gil is one of my favorite characters too. It's like also some people just like build these decks that like have 2 keywords on majority of their attack base, and all their attacks are -2 speed. And if you know that matchup knowledge and you figure that out, and you compare that Gil into them, they're in trouble. For sure. But like the idea is, I think that's another good strategy. Just having a deck that like people want to avoid can be good sometimes, because you don't have to pair that off. But basically, like, let's say you win your dice roll and you're like, okay, I want to pair Ulrich into Tim Keith so we can have that good matchup. And then their team is like, fuck. That means they just paired a good matchup, and now one of us has to play against Gil. Fucking, I don't want to play against Gil. Do you want to play against Gil? Like, no, not really. And they're already, like, in, like, a bad situation. Like, they're already fucking annoyed before the game's even started.
Games. Yeah.
Mind games, Tam. Mind games. Like, it's such a big part of UFS and teams especially. So, like, that's really important. Now, how do you learn all this matchup knowledge and get it? And this is where the playbook comes in. The playbook.
I'm leaning in. The playbook.
Saying this, is this for patrons only?
This is not. It will be for patrons only for a limited time. I think it's like a week or so, and then it goes live to everybody. Just because the point is, the good people got to know.
Here's what I want you to do. If possible.
All right, I'll figure it out.
What I'm about to tell you, I only want to be available to your patrons.
That's so rad. We're leaving this in because the good people gotta know. So if you want to hear the playbook,
the playbook.
$1 out on Patreon a month. $1.
Yes, go to Patreon.
This video's the playbook's worth $1.
This cannot go public without people. This shit's worth money. That's all.
$1. $1. $1.
All right, here we go.
I love it. Coach Piglet coming out. Coach Piglet. I love it. I love it. Thank you, man.
Yeah, man, of course.
Anything else you want to say about teams?
I don't think so. That's the big secret.
That's
the playbook.
Yeah, I know what I'm going to be doing as soon as I get off of this interview. Yeah. Yeah, let me I got a list of last minute things that I want to talk about.
Sure.
How do you feel? And this is the big one, right? And this is the one that I got the most questions out on our Discord. If you want to join the TC Discord, $1, not only will you get access to this exclusive content that we just filmed. We're back in the YouTube video now. Well, that we just filmed. $1, you get access to the Discord. We've got not just UFS channels, but Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh. We're adding Final Fantasy and so much more. Every card game you could possibly think of. Cool. Talk to us. We want to have a good open invitation. $1, $1, 25 cents a week, access to all of it.
What a great deal! What a deal!
Yeah, thank you. So, How do you feel about the current meta? As somebody who's played since set 1, how do you feel about the current meta of UFS Universes moving at the end of 2019 into 2020? You did take a small break to go play a separate card game. That's okay. There will be a Discord server for that at $1 if you want to come chit-chat about the Legend of Five Rings. I'd love to have you. But how do you feel about moving into 2020? You're coming back into the game. That's the main reason I wanted you on the cast so bad, is because I'm expecting 2020 to have another team's asset from Matthew Piglet Turner. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Maybe we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that happens. The upcoming meta, I've been enjoying it. I'm a Soul Calibur fan.
Yeah.
It's why I got into UFS.
Mm-hmm.
So I was proxying and playing with some of the Libra Souls and stopped playing with Endines like as soon as Nationals ended.
Okay.
The current deck I'm playing is Astaroth.
That deck's good.
I like throw decks. I also like decks that are hard to kill. And it's a Astaroth deck that plays Princess Perry.
Wow.
I've had some people ask me about this deck. I actually just built it like in real life with Keenan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an updated build on UFS Ultra. I'll try to get one eventually. Life's been busy.
Sure.
But basically, Astaroth is you play an attack, and anytime your opponent doesn't block an attack on your turn, you can recur a Princess Perry out of your discard pile. Then when your opponent plays an attack on their turn, if you go to Desperation, which his ability sets you up to go into Desperation, you can play the Princess Perry, discard their attack. And then it's a 5 mid for 5. Your deck also plays English Aristocrat because all the throws and stuff, my attack base is all 2. It all has 2 keywords. Okay. But which is okay against skill because you're all throws besides Princess Perry, so you don't really care if he nixes your speed. The life gain is a little annoying, but you can get through it just by his raw damage pump that Astaroth has. Sure. He gives everything 3 damage.
Yeah.
So basically, you play the Princess Perry, and you can English Aristocrat to make it 8 speed, and if they don't block that, you respond with Astaroth and recur another Princess Perry from your discard pile.
Gross.
And then when they play their next attack, you're like, Princess Perry.
Yeah, see ya, nerd.
Yeah. So, and then he can also make them 8 damage by losing 2 life, and then you can flip your opponent's board and stuff like that on their own
Punish
turn.
them. So damned if they do, damned if they don't. I love that. That's really strong.
Yeah. So it's a really cool. I used to play an old character called Jack Lamborn. He was an evil throw deck. He was a UK champion. It's an evil throw deck. Evil has some really cool options, control options and stuff like that. It's awesome. The throws in Astaroth are just amazing. And then you have Life Force Thread, which is a great card out of rando support. And yeah, it's been really fun. I've really been enjoying playing that deck. I was actually playing this before they changed Spirit Gun and stuff like that. So even playing before the Spirit Gun change, it feels really good. I have a special place in my heart for the character Goro, and eventually I will play him because he's a 440, and I'm the only player that's ever won championship with a 4 hand size character. So Hugo also had 440, and I played him, but it was really discouraging to play him before they changed stuff like that, and it's still sort of like that.
Changing stuff like Spirit Gun.
Yeah, Spirit Gun and Ice Dragon Siryu is kind of a popular card in our meta right now. And if you build 3 or 4, and then you're going second, and then your opponent Ice Dragons you on 2, and now you're on 1 foundation, and your board's tapped, and that's if they didn't give it more stun, and it's just this feels really bad.
I think Goro definitely has his place maybe on a team when you get to pick that matchup, because Goro versus Jeddah is the worst feeling in the whole wide world. Yeah, it just feels not good being able to like block everything, rip apart their staging area. Yeah, I'll give you momentum, but I've planned for that too. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think eventually, like I know Cassandra has some cards that like help protect your staging area. Like eventually he's going to get enough tools where he'll be okay. Like that was the whole thing with Hugo. Is like he sort of was a 640, but it was like it was like okay, eventually just like a good staging area and 40 life is going to be enough to win you the game.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about Goro, especially because he's got damage pump. He can get any cards that he wants. And it's just like eventually he'll have a deck that's good enough that it doesn't matter. Like, and this is sort of how I play UFS, like throw decks and stuff like that. Like, and this is where like Garrett Brett and I disagree a lot because he's like, although I have only beat him in one match in my history of UFS, but he's like, if I know what you're doing, I know that I'm going to beat you. Like I know exactly how to beat you. Like you're too predictable. But my idea is like if I just find like a combo, like some people would consider me a combo, even though it's weird in UFS to say. But it's like if you can play the same throw over and over and over again and they don't have an answer to it, it's like a win condition. Like it's a combo you set up. You set up to stay alive and you play this over and over and you've won the game.
Your game plan.
Like
if you have a
like
solid game plan. Yeah.
Right. And so I think that it's like I don't care if you know what I'm doing. Like I don't think you can stop it.
Yeah.
Like because it's that good. So I think Goro will eventually get there. But right now he's not that great, which kind of hurts my heart a bit. But Astaroth seems very good.
I'm excited to see Astaroth. I'm excited to see Matthew Turner go rip up some events with Astaroth. That's what I want.
Yeah, I might be bringing Astaroth to a few. I've heard some people call Astaroth bad, which I just, of course, hard disagree.
It is okay for people to be wrong. That's why we have a show that teaches about UFS. $1 a month. Get on Discord. Any last minute shout outs that you want to give before we wrap this guy up?
While we're talking about my UFS career, I do want to give a few shout outs. I want to give shout outs to people that have really like helped me in my UFS career. I want to give a shout out, first of all, to Ben Shoemaker. When I won in 2011, we were playing at Ben Shoemaker's house twice a week. I know that you guys being the Omaha play group has gotten so good because you guys play multiple times a week. Past all of the secrets that only the patrons will know. The best way to get good at UFS and to win is just to play a lot. It's a lot to learn, and if you play a lot, it just helps you like get in a groove of making sure you read all the cards and making sure that obscure second ability that's on your foundation, you can use it sometimes. And here's one of those situations, you know. Shu giving us his house, he was hosting, we were playing a lot. That's why I won in 2011. And his teammates, Dave Wagner and Drew Maffei.
Lion Stance.
Those guys, Lion Stance beat me so badly. Tam, another thing for people in UFS community, don't be discouraged because I have 2 cards and I did not even make top 8 in a regional or major event for 4 years. I played UFS for 4 years and never
Winners
topped.
never quit.
Winners never quit. So those guys just beat my ass into the ground. And that's our philosophy in Atlanta. We would rather have a few really good players than have a bunch, an abundance of mediocre players. And so when we teach people to play UFS, we don't sugarcoat it. Keenan and I taught people how to play UFS. He was playing a Nevos deck, and he was playing Dimitri, and I was playing Clark.
Gross.
And it's like, this is the real game. Like, we don't want to lie to you about it. Like, this is how the game works. And if you like it and you're like a sick fuck that likes this game like we do, then we can train you how to win. But you have to understand that this is it. And, like, it's not – like, we don't play kitchen table UFS to teach people how to get in the game because that's not how they're going to win. And we want to build winners. You know, I think we have 7 people in the Atlanta play group that have won cardboard. And I don't know if that's more than any other group. I know Michigan has quite a few. But we have 7 different players that have won. And training is a big part of it. Keenan Meadows is one of my oldest friends in UFS. He has been my teammate for so many years in teams. We still share cards today. He is just one of my best friends in this world, and he is my go-to guy to test UFS with. He is my partner in crime, and he has an amazing girlfriend that's very good at UFS as well.
Both Keenan has already been on this video, Champions Corner, and Ashley will have her time. I just wanted to separate them out, you know, to make sure that people didn't associate them together. She's her own player. He's his own player. Let's not lump them together. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have to give a special shout out to Kevin and Devin. Like I said earlier, winning teams with those guys was awesome. A really special shout out to Sean O'Brien. I think where people don't give Sean enough credit is I think Sean started Rochester CCG in 2012. And in 2012, when Jason bought UFS, there was a period from 2010 to 2012 in between Red Horizon 1 and Red Horizon Tides of Vengeance. Yeah. It was I think over 18 months where a set was not released for UFS. Yeah. It was over a year of no set. And when that set came out, Sean decided to take a chance and have a UFS community owned store. And, you know, and a lot of people have made their own stores after that, but he was the first guy that really took that big risk. And Sean, you know, is open to competition, and I know he's helped people. I know he's helped other people. Other people have told me, like, I went to Sean when I wanted to start a store and things like that. Yeah. And he's just a really great member of the UFS community. I want to thank you, Tam, for the interview. I really appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to, you know, all the players in Atlanta. There's too many to list, but I just appreciate the great play group I get to play with. I could list another bunch of great players that I've had the pleasure of teaming with, but I don't want to take up any more of your time. But thank you. I love your channel, Tam. I watch your videos. Obviously, get learned, stay learned.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think what you're doing for the UFS community is awesome, and I really appreciate the interview. And, you know, anyone that took the time to watch and listen to all this, the fact that you would do that means so much to me. You know, I don't think I'm, you know, anything special or that great, and who wants to hear about my life for a couple hours? But the fact that you thought that, I appreciate it.
Yeah, me, I do.
Thank you, Tim.
So my last question to keep the train rolling before I close it out is, who's next? I asked Keenan who he wanted to have, who I should get for the Champions Corner, and he said Matthew Turner. So who should I reach out to? Give me 2 or 3 names. Who's the next champ I should talk to?
It's got to be Rochester CCG's finest, Kevin Broberg.
Kevin Broberg. All right, I will send a message out to him and see when he can record. Thank you very much for everybody who watched the video. Like we said, if you want content early, please go to patreon.com/TCGUniversity. $1. You get that super secret Teams Spice, the tech.
Just one.
$1. 25 cents a week.
If you want to win teams, right? Just throw in $1. At least like until after Worlds is over, so you can get all the tech.
As soon as
That's like $2 or $3 to have all the team's knowledge to go win the tournament.
and you get cardboard, like you get that money back. You sell one card
It's called
for $5. $5 for one.
One card for $5, and you need to invest $3 to be able to win the world championship.
You heard it here. I wouldn't say first because I shill out this channel so much, but you heard it here. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and stay learned.
Get
Been
learned.
learned.
Always learn.
Always. See you guys.
Forever learned.